grade 11 scholars of the senior high school of Xavier University. I warmly welcome you all to the school year 2020-2021. Your scholarship is God's blessing to you and your family. And as such, it demands generous effort and hard work on your part. The world we live today is in crisis because of the pandemic. Despite this situation, I encourage you to remain positive, resilient, and adaptive, particularly to the mode of learning that we have this school year. Let me introduce you now to the dynamic personnel of the Admission and Aid Office. I am Ferdinand T. Cantular, the Director. Our office offers two services. First, admission. Admission is served by Ms. Finland Arances and Ms. Orlin Neri Torillo. Scholarship, on the other hand, is being served by Mr. Angel Baliar and Ms. Karen Amila. Let me turn you now to Mr. Angel Baliar, our scholarship personnel, who would explain to you your benefits and at the same time your important responsibility as a scholar.
Thank you so much for that, Sir Ferdy. Once again, we welcome you, our senior high school scholars here in Xavier Ateneo. I will be discussing the scholarship grants being administered here in Xavier University. First are the entrance exam scholarships. These are automatically granted to those who ranked first in the entrance exam. So there are titles, different titles for these, which I will be discussing later on. Second are grants in aid. These are financial aid in essence. So we consider here the socioeconomic status of the applicants. Third are the scholarship for honor students. So those who graduated as top 1 or 2 in their junior high school will be granted with this scholarship. And lastly, we have externally funded scholarships. Xavier University has been partnering with private individuals and organizations who wish to extend their generosity to the deserving students. Now, before we proceed to discussing the different types of entrance exam and grants in aid, I would like to discuss the composition of school fees so that you will get to appreciate the coverage of your scholarship that you get to enjoy. So, your total school fees is composed of tuition, matriculation, laboratory fees, and other fees. Now, later on, you will be informed with the coverage of your scholarship. So, that is why I introduced to you this composition of school fees. As mentioned, there are different titles of entrance exam scholarships, and these vary depending on the rank that you are into when you took the entrance exam. First is the President Scholarship. So these are the top notchers from top 1 to 15. Second is the Merit Scholarship. This scholarship is granted to those who belong to the top 16 and 30. Academic Scholarship, 31 to 100. Lastly, the Archbishop Hayes Scholarship, which is top 101 to 200. President, merit, and academic are automatically granted. On the other hand, Archbishop Hayes Scholarship is a financial aid in essence. It is among the grants in aid. So therefore, we consider the socioeconomic status of the applicants or those who qualified for this scholarship. So while you qualified for the Archbishop Hayes Scholarship, we will screen the applicants basing on the financial capacity of the applicant. So in this kind of scholarship, those whose combined family income does not exceed 500,000 will be granted. I will now discuss to you the coverage and the QPI requirement per scholarship. So we first discussed this President Scholarship. So your scholarship covers full tuition, full matriculation, laboratory fees, and other fees. And on top of it, you get to have a 10,000 allowance worth of uniforms and books per school year. And then your maintaining QPI requirement is 3.0 or D. Next is the Merit Scholarship. It's the same with the President Scholarship, full tuition, full matriculation, laboratory fees, and other fees. except that you don't have an allowance. And your maintaining KPI is the same 3.0 or D. Now we have academic scholarship. Your coverage is full tuition, full matriculation, and you don't have an allowance, and your maintaining KPI is 2.75 or D-. And lastly, the Archbishop Hayes Scholarship, the financial aid, covers 50,000 of your school fees per school year, and you don't have an allowance, and your maintaining KPI is 2.5 or B-. Now, St. Ignatius Scholarship, the scholarship for top 1 and 2, those who graduated as valedictorian or salutatorian during their junior high school. The coverage is full tuition and full matriculation, and you don't have an allowance, and your maintaining KPI is 2.75 or B-. Now, the externally funded scholarships shall follow the same KPI requirements with that of the university grants. So it is based on the amount or coverage of the grant. So for example, if an externally funded scholarship, for example, JDO, it is a scholarship for senior high school students. They cover everything: tuition, matriculation, laboratory fees, and other fees. Now, therefore, your scholarship QPI requirement will be 3. Now, another example is AFPEBS or the AFP partnership with Xavier University. The scholarship grantees enjoy full tuition and full matriculation only. So this means that they will follow the KPI requirement with that of the academic scholarship, which is 2.75. Well, of course, unless otherwise specified by externally funder. So this means that the funder has the discretion to set the KPI requirement, which could be either low or high, whichever is preferred by the funder. Now let's proceed to the scholars with DepEd vouchers. We are very familiar with DepEd vouchers, right? But before that, I would like to emphasize our policy on having more than one scholarship. It says, no university scholar should enjoy more than the equivalent of one full scholarship. This is clearly stated in your contract, which will be issued to you later on. So, DepEd voucher is a subsidy from the government to those who are enrolling in private institutions for their senior high school. Those who graduated from public schools will receive 20,000 subsidy per school year. And then those who are coming from private schools during their junior high school will receive 16,000. Now, it will be our policy to first deduct the DepEd vouchers from your total school fees. And the net will be the amount to be covered by your scholarship here in Xavier University. So again, as I've discussed, the student shall not hold more than one scholarship simultaneously unless the 2 scholarship grants together amount to only one full scholarship. Now let's proceed to the scholarship retention. Your scholarship will be based on your academic performance. So therefore, we need to review your grades at the end of each school year. The scholarship grant is reviewable every school year, provided that the recipient fulfills all the terms of the scholarship as indicated in your contract. We would like to emphasize 3 important things in your scholarship retention. Failure to meet the required KPI, failing a subject, or incurring actions contrary to the requirements of the scholarship shall result to the termination of the scholarship. If you notice, your scholarship retention is primarily based on your academic performance. An F in one subject or more despite meeting the required semestral KPI is ground for termination. What do we mean by this? Let's take an example of 3 KPI requirements. So you get to reach 3, however you incurred an F in one of your subjects. So that is already ground for termination. However, if the scholar is reconsidered for valid reasons and is placed on probation, you will still retain the full scholarship, the full coverage. So this means that you note reduction of your scholarship coverage. So appeals and reconsideration. So I just mentioned about being reconsidered. Should a scholar appeal for reconsideration and is granted for valid reason, the scholar retains the same coverage of grant but is given only a single chance. So again, if in case that you will fail a subject or you fail to maintain your KPI requirement, while we said that by policy it should be already for ground for termination, we accommodate appeals for valid reason. However, this is only given for a single chance. No more appeals shall be accommodated if the scholar fails to meet the required KPI or incur a failing mark again. So, how do you appeal for retention? First is that you have to write a letter of appeal addressed to the AAO director. Second is that you have to have recommendation letters from your A, strand head, and then B, your senior high school principal, and then a counseling slip. Okay, so now I will give you Miss Karen Crisonilla to continue the discussion of your orientation.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Angel, for discussing the first part of our orientation. So to continue, may I introduce to you the official Facebook page of the Xavier University Senior High School. Can you please follow this Facebook page so that all the information, all the updates, and all the announcements will be posted there. Okay, so now, how can you process the renewal of your scholarship? Of course, as a scholar, you need to renew your scholarship every after school year. The requirements would be, you need to apply for the renewal of scholarship through a Google form which will be posted in the senior high school Facebook page. And then after that, you need to upload a scanned copy of your complete grades. So you may access your complete grades through your SNMIS accounts. Of course, you have your individual SNMIS accounts. You just have to log into that and look for your grades, have it screenshot, and upload a scanned copy of that. And then after you upload a scanned copy of your complete grades, AAO will send a notification via email if your scholarship is renewed or terminated. So if your status is for reconsideration for those who are first time to incur infraction on grade requirement, you may email the requirements for appeals to scholarships@xu.edu.ph. Please remember that a scholar with an incomplete final mark is not eligible for renewal. Of course, we do not honor grades that are incomplete. All of your grades should be officially posted in your SLMIS accounts. So the deadline of renewal of your scholarship is on the last day of preliminary exams in each semester. So temporary grade slips will not be honored. With regards to your scholarship contract, of course, we will give you a copy of your scholarship contract. So it must be returned to the Admissions and Aid Office on or before the final exam in each school year. So the distribution process of this contract would be AAO will email the contract to the scholars, and then after that you will have it. You will need to have it signed with your parents, and then scholars will upload a clear copy of the signed contract in the Google form that will be posted to XU Senior High School official Facebook page. And next, we have your final clearance. So, as a scholar, you need to secure a clearance before your final exams. So, clearance will be distributed by the Senior High School Department. Just check the official Facebook page of Senior High School so that you can secure your clearance. And AAO will be one of the signatories of that clearance. Charging of books and uniforms and reimbursement process. Now, for the President Scholars, as you all know, you are entitled of 10,000 worth of your school uniform, books, and other school supplies. So, you may opt to have it charged in your scholarship, or if you have already purchased your books, you may ask for refund. So, here is the process. So, for charging of books and uniforms, of course, first you have to request for books and uniforms from the book center online. You may see the Google form link. Just check our official website at xu.edu.ph, and then after requesting your books and your uniforms, you will receive a response from that, and then you may email to scholarships@xu.edu.ph the reply that you received from the XU Book Center upon placing your order. The email must indicate your complete name and strand. After that, AAO will process your charge slip, please note that you have to come here at the date that you have specified. You may give us 2 to 3 days for the processing of your charge slip for your books and uniform. And now for the reimbursement process. Okay, first, you need to apply for online processing of your reimbursement through a Google form provided in the XU Senior High School official Facebook page. And then you need to upload a scanned copy of your official receipts of purchases. It could be books or uniforms or school supplies. After that, AAO will review the uploaded documents, and if you approve, we will send an email directing you to submit the hard copy of those official receipts. Please note that official receipt should be in your name, and the reimbursement will be deposited to the provided bank account if the scholar cannot personally pay.
Important criteria for your scholarship are good moral character and exemplary conduct. So we don't expect any form of misrepresentation and misbehavior on your part. It has been said that when you are given more is also expected of you. And part of the more that we are talking here is first that you need to prioritize your study. You really have to focus on it if you want to maintain the scholarship throughout your senior high school year. Second, we expect you to be actively involved and willing to assist on any online activities called for by the senior high school or the AAO. Third, we expect you to engage on online consultation with the guidance counselor at least once a semester in case you have a problem, academic or otherwise. You can actually confer with our guidance counselor. Fourth, we expect you to submit on time and online to our office a copy of your final marks every semester. We also expect you to attend the annual Scholars Online Orientation, which is what we are doing at this point of time. And we also encourage you to consciously internalize the Xavier Ateneo values. One of them is Magis. So usually Magis is understood as doing more, but the other way of understanding Magis is doing things on a deeper level. So you have to do it, you have to use the internet for academic and research purposes for you to go deeper in your study. Another value is cora personalis or personal care, especially with your fellow scholars. You have to support one another because you cannot really do it on your own. You have to have your parents, you have to have your classmates, and of course your fellow scholars for you to succeed in your academic life here in Xavier. The other value is finding God in all things. And another one is being person for others. We also would like to instill the values of excellence, competence, and conscience. And last, I would encourage all of you to stay safe and healthy during this time of pandemic. Thank you, and I wish that your study here in Xavier Ateneo would be a joyous and a productive journey. Once again, thank you
And welcome
To Xavier at